Today I want to talk about 5 stars and who all of a sudden has 5 of them joining an elite club. And I want to tell you what that club actually does and what all this means and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You got to help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about, Florida. With Eric Gilbert joins an exclusive club. And the reason I'm paying attention to this sort of stuff is we're going into National Signing Day. There's going to be lots of National Signing Day content on the channel. But I'm also taking a look at what are championship rosters made of. How many 5 stars do you need? We all know about Bud Elliott, blue chip ratio. And we're all grateful for that because it helps us understand right away who we don't have to worry about trying to win a national championship, at least as the college football playoff is put together now. But I'm reading, because I read a bunch about college football all the time, and I get to Chris Hummer's piece on 247, and now I'm going to use the glasses to read you a part that I thought you needed to know. Excuse me. All right. The last 18 months have seen Florida add 5 former 5-star recruits through the transfer portal. For a little perspective, only 5 teams in the FBS had more than a quintet of former 5-star prospects on their roster last year. Georgia, who is always underperforming, Alabama, who is always overperforming, Ohio State, who's right there, Clemson, who is overperforming, and LSU, who won a national championship twice in the last decade, to say nothing of, 07, 03. I guess people don't really talk about 2011 all that much. Let's just keep it at 2019 so that people are already upset. Whatever. But I'm looking at that list. I'm going, Oklahoma ain't on that list. Texas ain't on that list. Oregon ain't on. There's no school from the Pac-12 on that list at all. Like, we got 3 SEC teams, 4 SEC teams with Florida. So that means 2 in the SEC East and 2 in the SEC West. And we're still having conversations about what the best league in college football is. My goodness. But Florida, who I don't think is going to be great next year, could be great the following year. Eric Gilbert, Emory Jones, DeMarcus Bowman, Lorenzo Lingard, Justin Shorter, Jacob Copeland. Like, they got dudes, at least offensively. I'm not sure if Ty Grantham makes it into, another year if he gives up the kind of points they gave up in 2020. I mean, Arkansas was not an offensive juggernaut. Arkansas fans will be the first to tell you that. They put up 35 on Florida. All right? Like, them holding Alabama to 52 is actually the achievement last year. They were not good defensively. Not because they didn't have personnel, but because Ty Grantham kept hitting the B button, engage 8 on Madden, because that's how he wanted to call defense. They also had dudes like 2019 that were just awesome. Jabari Zuniga, John Grinnard, and that's just to start, right? We can continue to look around. Like, they perennially have dudes that I have to watch for on the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award because they can be that good at safety, at corner, at every position. And as a matter of fact, 2020, I think, is the most relevant that Florida has been since 2008. Haven't really actually talked about them. Now we're talking about them in the context of losing the title for the greatest recruiting class of all time in the rankings era, Urban Meyer's 2010 class with like 28 commits or whatever, to Alabama with 26, who's going to go over the top of that. Kamar Wheaton and them sign on National Signing Day on Wednesday. But it is reason not just for Florida fans to start to pop up, which I know is everybody's favorite thing, but for us to talk about where the talent is, where the talent is going, and project the future, because that's one of the things that y'all love me to do on this channel, to predict stuff, project stuff, tell you how things are going to go. Big hit on the channel was me telling everybody that LSU was going to pick up 5 losses in 2020. People, particularly from Baton Rouge or root from the team from Baton Rouge, want to tell me I was wrong. How many losses did you catch? Okay. It's because I'm taking into account things like this. Who has the 5-star talent? Where's the 5-star talent going? Not because every 5-star pans out, not because every 5-star is a bust, but because the more 5 stars you have, the greater the likelihood of you being elite. Then we can have different conversations about how many 4 stars do you need? How many 3 stars do you need? What is the correct number for a group of 5 champion? What would we need to expect from a group of 5 champion who earns the highest rank in the college football playoff for that at-large bid, that group of 5 bid, to beat a Power 5 team. Cincinnati got close with Georgia. They got 1 or 2 players in that blue chip ratio going to them. Maybe it's a little bit different because that game was so close and so good. Remember, JT Daniels goes for 392 yards in a game that Georgia had to win on a field goal late, okay? So it's not that big a gap, but it's big enough, especially in a one-off situation. Now, if Georgia and Cincinnati played each other 10 times, you might see Georgia win 9 of them, but we don't do that. It's actually one of the reasons that I think people are stupid when they say they don't want a college football playoff. I also think it's that people want their opinions to matter. They don't want an objective arbiter. They don't want math. They want their opinion of who is good and who is not to be the end-all, be-all. I don't live in that world. I like to let the data tell me what is good and what is not. It's like one of the reasons that I think that, we talk about some of the things we talk about. Some people like to hear me talk about Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. Some people don't like to hear me talk about, for instance, Black history, even as we're in Black History Month and I'm black. And I got quite literally a living, well, not living, grandmommy passed 2 years ago. I have an artifact in my family that is a Black history fact, right? It's a very big part of my identity. It's one of the reasons that I think I'm good at my job. But all to say, I'm using this data to tell you what I think is good and what I think is not. So when you tell me that adding Eric Gilbert to the mix for Florida puts them on par with Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, and LSU, I have to begin to think of Florida as the kind of team that could compete for a national championship. But again, Georgia is in there. That means they got to get past their own division rival at the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, and then they got to go and beat Alabama or LSU, usually, in the SEC championship. It's also the reason why everybody bets the SEC champion heavy going into the college football playoff, because we have lots of data to show that is the best team in college football based on the schedule that they played and who they played in their conference championship game and the amount of 5 stars on their depth chart. Just thought it was something we should all think about. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.